Aurora Cannabis is making a push into hemp official. The cannabis company announced yesterday that it has completed its acquisition of Hempco Food and Fiber, acquiring all the company's outstanding shares for about $63.4 million Canadian. And joining us now to discuss this is Aurora Cannabis CCO, Cam Batley. Cam?
Good to see you again.
Good to see you again. Thanks for coming out here. I know you travel quite a bit.
A little.
Always trying to keep your fingers on what this company is doing. And now the push into hemp here.
Yes.
Curious as to why the big push for you into hemp.
I'll tell you why. Because we believe that hemp is going to be an enormous global business. It's not just about hemp-derived CBD, although we will have more to say about that, particularly in a U.S. context quite soon.
Yeah.
But hemp in and of itself is a tremendous economic opportunity for the CBD, certainly, but also for the protein that you're able to receive from this plant, because unlike a lot of plants, it's high in protein. You can even make building materials out of hemp. So along with our cannabis business, we see an enormous economic opportunity in hemp, and we're going to be pursuing that around the world.
What's funny is, we got the update from Kronos when they reported earnings, and their CEO was saying that the CBD market might actually dwarf what they see in the marijuana space. And so that's why a lot of these companies have been pushing into CBD. Would you agree with that? Do you see the CBD market eventually taking off? I know some projections are about $23 billion by 2023.
It'll be used in different ways, right? So we foresee CBD in a lot of consumer packaged goods. Cannabis itself, on both a medical and ultimately a consumer basis, is also going to be an enormous business. And I think we might be getting ahead of ourselves to be projecting right now which is going to be the bigger. But I'm not going to disagree. Mm-hmm. What's important for us right now as a company is to continue doing what we're doing. We think that we've made more right moves than anybody else in this sector, and it's paying off. You might have seen our guidance a couple weeks ago where we announced that we're guiding to over 100 million Canadian in revenues, between 100 and 107 million, and also between 90 and 95 million in cannabis revenue alone. Mm-hmm. And so what that means, and this is a big signal day for us, is that we've emerged now as the leading producers and sellers of cannabis in the world, in addition to having the biggest global footprint, because now we're operating in 25 countries. And that is significant, because just a year and a half ago, we had 5,000 kilograms on an annual run rate of cannabis production. Mm-hmm. And we've now surpassed that annual run rate past 150,000. So this is an enormous shift in the industry.
I want to highlight that, though, right? Because it is one good thing to point to market share, and stealing that away from Canopy Growth, that's a big plus. Well, but when you do talk about all of that production being increased, there is some concern that it's becoming a commodity in the Canadian market specifically because you have so much cannabis stockpiled now, not just you guys, but companies across the board.
Can I tell you an indication that it is not becoming commodity? And that is that some companies have had challenges with significant returns from the provincial governments that have had unsaleable product and they've sent it back to the producers.
Yeah, we just saw that Cannatrust today.
Well, yeah, and we've had virtually no issue with that. And we found that our brands, our Aurora brands plus our MedRelief San Rafael brands are leading the way. So we've taken over the lead in the Canadian consumer market as well. So there is some indication that there is discrimination for quality. And we've always felt that quality is king, and that's why we produce cannabis the way we do with such high quality.
Cam, I want to talk a little bit about Nelson Peltz. He is a strategic advisor over at Aurora. Yes. And when he was first announced as a strategic advisor, he's a veteran in the consumer goods space. And so a lot of people were speculating that's the direction that Aurora is looking to go, is to really spread their wings and be really heavy in the consumer space. Is that, in fact, true? Is that where you guys are seeing the most growth, is to put hemp in a lot of these consumer goods?
So certainly you're not wrong to say that Nelson Peltz is a giant in consumer packaged goods. And so that much is certainly true. But his skills, expertise, contacts, and wisdom go well beyond that. So it's not wrong to say that we are working with him in terms of opportunities, in terms of consumer packaged goods. Mm-hmm. But we're also looking at opportunities across all of the verticals that are either being disrupted by cannabis or where cannabis is creating wholly new, enhanced opportunities. And we've gone through the list before. It's everything from pharma to brewing and distilling and wellness and beauty and cosmetics and so on. The opportunities are there, and we're not limiting it.
If you do see that real growth, though, in the CBD space and all these other opportunities right now, it's been a bit of a back and forth between a company trying to push really hard in the short term and suffer those, the unprofitable quarters, And we've seen cannabis companies get punished for that. And there's other ones who are saying, no, it's fine, we'll turn it around in the short term, but long term we'll be fine. I mean, I'd be curious because it's taken Aurora a little bit longer than I think some investors would have wanted to see an entrance into the U.S. market, especially after Canopy made their move. Why so long, though?
Well, a couple of things. One, there is a tendency to shout, follow the leader in this sector. So, Canopy did their thing and Cronos did their thing. One is controlled by a distiller and another is controlled by a tobacco company. And what have we said consistently for over a year is we don't want to be controlled by anybody else. But more than that, we see opportunities to participate in multiple verticals. And there's nobody at the outset of this new industry who says that we can't do that. So we measure twice, we cut once. We're very confident in the path that we're proceeding with. And I think our strategy has been completely validated thus far. I'm hoping that in a year, when we're sitting down again, I'll say the same thing.
I hope that you bring the news when you do make that entrance, too. That'd be good stuff to have on the show.
We'll be here when we have announcements.
All right,
for sure.
Cam Batley, CCO at the company that was one of the few to shake the trend and be up on earnings day.
That's
Thank you so
right.
much for joining us. Appreciate it.